Hello everyone, I'm Jake, John's older brother. Thank you all for coming today. I have a little story to tell. It was early morning. I was standing in the kitchen, watching the rain pour down outside the window. Behind me, I heard the front door open. In walked John, looking tired but happy. He had just come in from a 10-hour car trip through the night, driving from Michigan to Virginia. Well, he said, I'm engaged. I think I responded with something like, boy howdy, it's about time. Even though neither of us had eaten breakfast, I poured 2 glasses of scotch. And we celebrated this big step in John's life. He was young, maybe he didn't have everything figured out, but he knew that he loved Nikki, and that she loved him. And he had finally made the choice to promise his life to her, and to ask her to do the same. This is no small thing, and definitely worth celebrating, as we are today. However, John's choice to marry Nikki might not have always evoked such a festive response from me. For a long time, my relationship with Nikki went something like this. I was quiet and wouldn't say anything to Nikki. Nikki would think I hated her. Nikki would try to talk to me. Hi, Jake. I would say, hey. Nikki would think I hated her. Nikki, starting to feel more comfortable around John's family, would say something sarcastic. Being well versed in sarcasm myself, I would respond with a burning invective, dissolving Nikki into a puddle of tears. Nikki would think I hated her. Our relationship continued in this fashion for quite some time. Now, this was an odd experience for me. I saw myself as a pretty easygoing guy, able to get along with a variety of people and personalities, and yet here I was, feeling resentful towards this intelligent, fun, pretty, kind young woman who spent a lot of time with my brother. Clearly there must be something wrong with her. Eventually, I realized it was the last part of that description that I had a problem with. She spent a lot of time with my brother. I often found myself saying things like, seriously, she spends all her time with John. Doesn't she have anything better to do? Well, I guess not. On a more serious note, though, it has taken me a long time to understand Nikki's feelings towards John. To find a starting point, something I could relate to, I looked to my own childhood. To, oddly enough, my relationships with my brothers. I had always worshipped my older brothers and would always want to do things with them, whether it was hiking, lighting off fireworks, working on the farm, playing soccer, telling adventure stories, or fixing up a car for the demolition derby. In the words of Thomas Merton, writing about younger brothers, the law written in his nature says that he must be with his elder brother and do what he is doing. This was the level of affection and devotion I saw in the way Nikki felt about John, that she simply wanted to be with him and do what he was doing. Now obviously, the relationship between brothers is vastly different than a romantic relationship, but it was a basis for me to begin understanding the relationship between Nikki and John. As a kid, I remember keenly not only the warm glow of being included in those activities with my brothers, but also the infrequent yet deep hurt of rejection when I wasn't allowed to be with them, or was too young or burdened. And so who was I to inflict this same rejection on Nikki, to deny her the feeling of joy and security at being included in the family? I realized I needed to make a choice about Nikki. I marvel at how long it took me to come to this realization, for I had long ago come to the same awareness about John. My experiences with my older brothers, mostly positive but some negative, solidified in me an intentional choice. I chose to be a brother to John. I know what you're thinking. You can't choose your family. You can't choose your brother. Yet you can choose to be a family, and I chose to be an older brother to John, to try to give him what my older brothers had given me. I didn't do a perfect job, but we still had a lot of fun, camping, wrestling, making swords, filming short movies and fight scenes, most of which featured John getting beat up by me. Even when I hit my high school years, and it wasn't always cool to have a little brother around, I would include John in whatever I was doing with my cool friends. Whether it was sleepovers, going out to the movie theater, or just cruising around town, doing whatever teenagers do when you give them a car and a CD of music, which is pretty much just drive around and listen to music. I don't remember any of my friends ever complaining that I always brought John along with me, probably because even at 12 years old, I was 17, John was still cooler than I was. I'm not sure if John even noticed or appreciated any of this, but here I am including it in my speech just to make sure he does. For me, though, it became such a habit of thought that only in recent years have I even considered that John has grown into his own person and might not always want to do everything with me and do all the things that I do. I still think in the old way sometimes, though. I think I'll get John a gun for his birthday. I like guns, so of course John likes guns. Or, I think I'll ask John to be in this cheesy vampire movie with me. I like making movies, so of course John likes making movies. Or, more recently, I think I'll get John and Nikki a gun as a wedding present. I already know John likes guns, so of course Nikki likes guns. It was actually this train of thought that led me to the first moment when I really started to see Nikki as her own person. Because I only ever saw her with John, and she would do what John was doing, I assumed she was just doing it to impress John. It wasn't really being authentic. Let me give an example. See, the cheesy vampire film was actually something that we did. I had gotten myself involved in this film that I didn't even want to make. And so, of course, I asked John to come in it and be miserable with me. John was my right-hand man through the whole process, to which I said, "Wow, that was a lot of intense, unpaid work you did with me. Thanks, John." Nikki was also there through the whole thing and helped me as much as John did, to which I said, she only did it because John was there. And this had been my way of thinking for the whole time I had known Nikki. I never accepted her as she was, or took the things she did at face value. Until one day, I had invited John, again under the assumption that of course he would love to do whatever I was doing, to come to a Krav Maga self-defense class with me. He said he would, and we signed up for a trial class. When the day came, John was sick, and so I went down to the dojo by myself, thinking I would be the only one there for the intro class. When who should be there but Nikki? Without John. Not only did she like Krav Maga, but she was good at it, and didn't do it to impress John. I was left struggling to reconcile my old conception of Nikki with the Nikki who could kick an attacker in the groin if she had to. And do it without John's help. This was the beginning of a long process that only ended not long ago, after Nikki had moved by herself down to Virginia, and John had followed her to finally propose. And the end of that process was a choice. I chose to accept Nikki. Thus, now I can say very authentically and unreservedly, Nikki, you are a beautiful, intelligent, strong, and caring young woman. And I know that you'll be good to and for John. And I will be a brother to you. Welcome to the family. Wait. John, you are my brother. As the book of Proverbs says, a brother is a better defense than a strong city. And a friend is like the bars of the castle. You have been both to me. Yeah, I hope I have been so to you. I know that you'll be the strong defense of Nikki. And you will strive to build her castle. And anyone who knows you knows that I'm not being figurative about the castle. I will end my story with a final scene. We were sitting around the dinner table at our older brother Mike's house, celebrating John and Nikki's new engagement. I was earnestly telling John all the things we would need to do together before he got married. He laughed at how I made everything sound so urgent, so final, like it was our last chance. He said, "Jake, I'm not dying." But in a way, he is dying. Marriage is a calling to die to yourself, to lay down your life for your friend. Not just once, but every day, for the rest of your life. Just as a grain of wheat entering the earth must die before it bears good fruit, so the individuals entering marriage must die to themselves, so that a new unity may grow and flourish and bear great fruit. But along with that, other relationships might not be given the time and attention that they once were. John owes Nikki the love and duty that trumps the claim of anyone else, even the claim of a brother. And I wouldn't have it any other way. May you both be blessed and happy in your new life together as you pursue your dreams, whether it's traveling to foreign countries, starting a business, or building a castle in your backyard. To John and Nikki. Now, John, I know you're not really dying, but I couldn't help myself. Anyone who knows me knows that my true gift does not lie in making speeches, but in making movies. So, if you can't see the projector screen, feel free to shift until you can see comfortably. Everyone at the head table might want to get a better seat, and enjoy.